the fight that I'm really looking forward to out of this, which I think is going to be a complete fucking knockout win or a finish, and in the UFC Fight Night Nashville, is Mike Perry versus Jake Ellenberger. Mike Perry is favored -185 to +160. So Jake Ellenberger is the underdog in this one, and I actually don't mind it. Mike Perry, I think, is a great fighter. He's an up and coming talent. I think he's a poor man's Jorge Masvidal, because I think Jorge Masvidal is way more technical when it comes to it. But I mean Jorge Masvidal is 32 years old. Mike Perry is like, what, I want to say 25. 25 years old. So I mean, I think he's gonna be just exactly like Jorge Masvidal. He kind of fights with a chip on the shoulder. He kind of grew up in the ghetto from Flint, Michigan. And just like Jorge Masvidal grew up in the hoods of Florida, I believe. So I don't know, man. I kind of like this. I like this matchup just because it's gonna be a knockout in my opinion. As in, Mike Perry has won all his fights by knockout, and then Jake Ellenberg, if I'm not mistaken, he out of his 31 wins, 19 are knockouts. So he does have some submission power. He's had 6 submissions and then 6 decisions. He has lost by knockout 4 times. I'm just gonna go off what I think of the fight. I think Mike Perry is a poor man's Jorge Masvidal, who still has a lot of room to grow. You know what I mean? Like his ground game isn't the best, even though I believe he wrestled in high school, so he does have a base in it. But like I said, wrestling in high school isn't, unless you're like one of the best wrestlers in the nation in high school. You're like one of the best players in the nation in high school. Like doing shit in high school doesn't really matter to me. But when you look at Jake Ellenberg's last couple fights, I mean, he's lost his strikers, just people that are just patent strikers. Jorge Masvidal, a striker. Stephen Thompson, a striker. Kelvin Gastelum, a boxer. Robbie Lawler, a brawler. Rory McDonald, a striker. So it's like there's a pattern here where it's like, and then his last 2 wins were against shitty ass dudes that were on their way out in their career. Matt Brown hasn't been the same ever since. He's been what is he on, like a 3-4 fight losing streak? No, a 3-4 fight losing streak. Yeah, he just got KO'd by Donald Cerrone. Josh Koscheck. Yeah, but I mean, after what, Josh Koscheck hasn't even been that great, and isn't he in Bellator now? So he beat Nate Marquardt, who was like he was 34 at the time, so he was so old as fuck. Like none of these guys are like Josh Koscheck is a has-been. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not no disrespect to him. I liked him as a fighter, but I'm just saying it's the truth. Matt Brown hasn't been looking good ever since Matt Brown, like people would say, oh, that's a great record that's a great run on his resume. Yeah, but lately Matt Brown has just been, it's like when you beat a guy and then you start seeing him go on a 3-fight losing streak, it's just like, yeah, that kind of goes to show you that, you beat him and that was a good resume before, but if you would have came back and rebounded and stuff, it would have made your resume look better. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's when those teams, it's when in NCAA football, if you guys are fans of that, and when they, at the end of the year, when they're like, all right, who had the better games, and people say, well, they beat USC when he was ranked. All right, but UFC didn't even end up being in the top 25 at the end of the season, so that's not even a good win anymore. You feel me? I kind of base it off that. So that's just the way I see it. Like Kelvin Gastelum, still a contender. Robbie Lawler, we haven't seen him fight, but he just lost the title. So but Robbie Lawler, I doubt he's gonna suck. He's always come back. Rory McDonald, he after that he fought for the title again, so he's had 2 title contender shots. Jorge Masvidal, still a contender, is the number 5 in the welterweight division. Stephen Thompson just lost to the title to T. Woodley. So all his losses, the fighters are still relevant. All of his wins against the fighters, none are relevant anymore. So I mean, that's just the truth to it. And then you go to Mike Perry, his recent loss against Alan Jouban. Yeah, I get that. It was a good fight. You know what I mean? It was a solid fight. Danny Roberts, who is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie to you. Danny Roberts is decent. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you he sucks ass just because Mike Perry beat him. No, he's actually pretty good. Like, he's not the best. I'm not gonna lie to you and fucking try to inflate this fool's record. But Danny Roberts has 13 wins, only 2 losses in his career. One of them being Mike Perry, and before that, he was on a 2-fight win streak in the UFC. So, You know, Mike Perry has a decent win, so we will see. You know, but I don't see Jake Ellenberger winning just because Mike Perry is a striker, and Jake Ellenberger always has tough times with strikers. But that's just my opinion on it. But and plus, I don't know why, man, but I just think Jake Ellenberger is one of those fighters that he has too much pride in going to his bread and butter, where he's like, kind of like, I'll beat you whether the fuck you think you're gonna beat me, and that's all in good. But sometimes if you want to get a W, man, it's all about game planning and beating them where they're most weakest. So if Jake Ellenberger doesn't play that whole shit of like, I want to beat him on the ground and knock his ass out because he's a little bitch because I fucking hate Mike Perry like that, because he hates him because he talks so much shit, which I don't mind if you back it up. You know what I mean? I just hate the people that talk shit and never back it up. That's the one thing that I hate. But if Jake Ellenberger actually fucking goes for the takedown and tries to submit him, yeah, I can see him winning. But if he tries to do that whole thing of, I'm gonna beat you where you're strongest and all that shit, like, I respect you for that, but that's also how you get a bunch of losses, you know what I mean? So, in my opinion, you go for the takedown, you get the W. You fight smart. You fight smart sometimes, and there's times where you fight with your fucking balls and you say, you know what, I'm nut up and do it this way, and I understand that. But I mean, right now, dude, your record isn't looking so hot. Out of your three of your last 4 fights were all losses, and 2 by TKO. So, and if you go down further, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Out of his last 8 fights, six were losses. And then 5 of them were by finish. So I see the UFC as a fight in runs. Like, it's a sport that's dominated by runs, and I think Mike Perry's on his run. There was a hiccup between Alan Jouban, but I think I think Mike Perry learns from Alan Jouban, picks up the slack, and then fucking KOs Jake Ellenberger in the 3rd round. I'm gonna say Jake Ellenberger's has. You know what? No, I'm gonna go 2nd round finish because I don't think he'll beat him in the 1st round. I just don't think, because Jorge Masvidal really almost finished him in the 1st round. So I think Mike Perry might finish him in the 2nd round. So we'll see. But I mean, I see Mike Perry favored for a good reason.